There's a saying, the night is darkest just before dawn. And that's not just poetic, it's profoundly true. Have you ever noticed how life gets overwhelmingly difficult when you're just a step away from something significant? That's no coincidence. That's life's way of testing how badly you want what you've been chasing. Imagine a mountaineer climbing the last stretch of Everest. The oxygen is thin, the winds are brutal, and the body is screaming to give up. But you see, the peak is just around the corner. If he quits now, all the previous struggle becomes meaningless. But if he pushes through just a little longer, the reward will be beyond imagination. Many of us give up not because we're weak but because we don't realize how close we are. We misread the pain as a sign to stop, when often it's a sign to hold on tighter. Pain has a strange way of disguising progress. When you're sweating, the bleeding and exhausted, your mind tells you it's the end. But life is whispering, you're getting close. Think of a seed buried in the soil. For weeks, there's nothing visible above the surface. But underground, transformation is happening. Roots are forming, strength is being built. Then, one day, that seed breaks through and becomes a plant. Did it happen overnight? No, it was just silent growth. Similarly, your struggle might not be seen by others, but that doesn't mean it's fruitless. Every challenge is shaping you. Every setback is preparing you. Every difficulty is bending you, but not breaking you. You see, pressure only breaks what isn't ready. Diamonds are born from pressure. Steel is forged in fire, and so are you. So when life gets tougher, instead of saying, why me? Start saying, try me. Shift from victim to warrior. Let the pain be your proof that you're leveling up. Because sometimes the pain isn't punishment, it's preparation. And if it's getting tough, maybe just maybe, it means you're almost there. When we find ourselves on the edge of something great, life often throws its biggest challenges at us. It's a strange pattern, but one that's repeated in countless stories of success, from athletes to entrepreneurs to ordinary people trying to do extraordinary things. Just when they were about to give up, when everything seemed to be falling apart, something clicked or changed, and their entire lives shifted. That moment of extreme difficulty wasn't a barrier, it was the final test. The universe has a mysterious way of asking, how bad do you want this? And it rarely lets anything truly worthwhile come easily. These intense moments right before success aren't coincidences. They are checkpoints. They are the pressure gates between your current self and your transformed self. Most people don't quit in the beginning. They quit when they're almost there, because that's when the resistance is strongest. When the burden feels unbearable, and when the dream feels farthest, even though it's actually closest. But if we can understand this pattern, this strange, almost cruel twist in life, we can stop misinterpreting the struggle. Instead of thinking, maybe I'm failing, we begin to realize, maybe I'm closer than I've ever been. That understanding changes everything. It doesn't make the pain disappear, but it makes the pain meaningful. It reminds us to take one more step, even when every part of us wants to collapse. Because the truth is in the difficulty you're experiencing right now is not a wall. It's a door in and the reason it's so heavy is because it's the door to everything you've been working for. Pain by its very nature is uncomfortable. It stings, it exhausts, and it makes us question our path in But what if we've been taught to misread pain? What if the very signals we associate with failure are actually signs of progress? You see, pain doesn't always mean something is wrong. It often means something is happening. When a bodybuilder lifts heavy weights for 22 hours to be in the pain in the muscle isn't a sign of damage, it's a sign that the muscle is being pushed beyond its current limit, triggering growth. The same is true in life. Emotional pain, mental strain, and spiritual discomfort aren't always signs to step back. Sometimes they are evidence that you are stretching, evolving, and stepping into new territory. The problem is, we've been conditioned to seek comfort. And comfort rarely challenges us. It rarely forces us to grow. So when we encounter pain, whether it's rejection, criticism, self-doubt, or repeated failures, we instinctively want to retreat. But the irony is the pain might be the very proof that we are doing something meaningful. No one grows while standing still. It is only when we walk through resistance that we come to know our true strength. Think of it this way. When you're hiking up a steep mountain trail, the path becomes rougher the higher you climb. Your legs ache, your breath shortens, and your mind begins to whisper, maybe you should turn back. But the truth is, those exact signals, the pain, the fatigue, the doubt, are not warnings that you're lost. They're confirmations that you're ascending. So, instead of fearing pain, perhaps we should learn to listen to it differently. Not as a cry to quit, but as a message that says, keep going you're transforming. Because it's often in our most painful moments that the deepest work is being done on our character, on our beliefs, and on our destiny. The pain is real, yes, but so is the purpose behind it. Every great transformation in life is preceded by intense struggle. It's almost as if the universe demands a final act of courage before handing over the reward. Look at nature. It follows the same pattern. Before a butterfly takes flight, the caterpillar must endure the painful, isolating process of metamorphosis. Sealed in a cocoon, in darkness, it breaks down completely and rebuilds itself. There's no skipping that stage If you interfere with the process, if you try to help it out of cocoon prematurely, the butterfly dies. It is the struggle that strengthens its wings. Now apply this truth to your own life in the breakdowns you're going through, the disappointments that seem to pile up, the emotional heaviness that feels never ending. These aren't punishments. They're preparation. The intensity increases because you're nearing a shift. When you're coasting through life, things are easy. But easy is deceptive Growth doesn't happen there. It's in the moments when life feels like a storm, when everything is uncertain, when your plans fall apart, and when you're forced to face your fears, that you're actually being forged into someone capable of handling what's coming next. Greatness doesn't emerge out of comfort. Think about the best stories you've ever heard, whether of successful leaders, legendary athletes, or inspiring survivors. All of them include a chapter of chaos, of suffering, of doubt. That chapter wasn't the end of their story. It was the turning point It was the moment that shaped their strength, clarified their vision, and deepened their resolve. That intense struggle was not an accident. It was a setup for a comeback. When things feel like they're falling apart, they might actually be falling into place. That last stretch, the hardest mile, the moment when you want to scream or give up, that's the signpost that you're approaching a breakthrough. The most turbulent winds are often just before the landing, and the most significant internal changes occur just before life rewards you externally, So when everything becomes unbearably hard, don't be quick to assume it's all going wrong. Consider this, it might be going exactly as it should. We often get discouraged when we don't see results, especially after putting in so much effort, time, and emotional energy. It's one of the most frustrating feelings. Working hard, giving your best, staying disciplined, and yet nothing seems to change. There's no applause, no visible progress. It feels like shouting into the void, and that silence can be deafening. But here's something we're forgetting. Just because we can't see progress doesn't mean it's not happening. Think of a seed planted in the soil. For days, even weeks, there's no sign of life above ground. If you didn't know better, you might assume the seed is dead or nothing is happening. But beneath the surface, powerful things are taking place. Roots are growing, anchoring deep into the earth, gathering nutrients, building a strong foundation. Only after all of this unseen effort does a tiny sprout finally break through. That breakthrough, though small, is the result of everything that happened in secret. Our lives work in a similar way. When we're building a dream, working on ourselves, healing from pain, or chasing a goal, the first phase is often hidden. There's no celebration, no recognition, and sometimes not even encouragement. It feels thankless. But what you don't see is how you're slowly evolving. Your mind is sharpening. Your resilience is increasing. Your inner world is aligning. Progress is happening in layers too deep to measure with the naked eye. This is why consistency matters so much. Because transformation doesn't announce itself as it unfolds. It reveals itself only after the quiet work is done. That's the secret. The greatest achievements in life are built on foundations no one ever sees. And if you quit because there's no visible proof of your progress, you may abandon something that was about to break through. Patience, faith, and discipline are your companions in these moments. Not everything worth having arrives instantly. Some of the most beautiful and powerful things in life take time, more time than we want to give, but always exactly the time we need. You are not behind, you are not failing. You are becoming. Even if the world can't see it yet, resilience is not born in times of ease. It is carved out in moments of hardship. When life flows smoothly, when the path is straight and the winds are calm, we don't truly discover who we are. It's only when we are knocked down, pushed back, misunderstood, betrayed, or faced with repeated failure that our inner strength begins to surface. The strength you admire in others, the unshakable will, the calm in chaos, the courage to continue, that wasn't given to them by luck. It was built through seasons of resistance. The resistance is not our enemy, it is our sculptor. It chisels away at weakness, laziness, and fear, shaping something sharper, stronger, more refined within us. Think about how muscles grow. You lift weights, apply pressure, create micro tears in the fibers. Then your body repairs and strengthens them. The muscle only grows because it was challenged. Likewise, our character, our emotional and mental muscles only grow when life applies pressure. You don't learn patience when everything goes your way. You learn it in the delays. You don't develop perseverance when success comes easily. You cultivate it when success takes longer than expected, when doors close, and when you have to try again after every disappointment. And you don't build self-belief by always being praised. You build it when you're doubted, when you're alone, and when you have to become your own source of encouragement. Resistance strips away the superficial and forces us to ask deeper questions. How much do I want this? What am I really made of? Will I fold or will I rise? These aren't comfortable questions, but they're the questions that matter. The truth is, life will challenge you. Not to break you, but to prepare you. You're being equipped for what's coming. The skills, the mindset, the resilience. You're earning those not through shortcuts, but through the daily grind. Every time you keep going when it would be easier to quit. Every time you get back up after a fall. You're training your spirit to endure. And the beautiful part is this: over time, what once broke you begins to build you. The same resistance that once made you question everything becomes the force that shapes your foundation. You begin to realize, I can handle this. I've been through worse. I've grown stronger. That shift from being overwhelmed by resistance to being empowered by it is the birth of unshakable resilience. Struggling is often seen as a weakness in society. We hide it, we apologize for it, we even feel ashamed of it. But here's the truth: struggling is not a sign of failure. It's a sign that you're still fighting. It means you care. It means you're still reaching for something greater, even when the odds are stacked against you. Think about it. People who have given up don't struggle. They stop trying. They stop hoping. They stop moving. The presence of struggle means you haven't let go of your vision, your dream, or your belief that things can get better. We live in a world obsessed with outcomes. Success is measured by visible results, trophies, titles, milestones. But the real victories, the ones that define us, are often invisible. They happen in quiet moments. When you pull yourself out of bed after a sleepless night, when you wipe your tears and go back to work, when you choose hope even after 100 rejections. No one may see these moments but they are the bricks that build your foundation. You're not weak because you feel exhausted. You're not broken because you're struggling to keep going. In fact, the very act of continuing to move forward, step by painful step, is a testament to your strength. It takes tremendous inner power to persist in the absence of applause, recognition, or reassurance. Every time you fall and rise again, you're proving something extraordinary about your character. I look of the people you admire the most. They all have a story filled with obstacles. Their greatness wasn't born from perfection. It was forged in the fires of struggle. What sets them apart is that they didn't let the struggle define them negatively. Instead, they let it refine them. They made it part of their journey, not the reason to stop, but the reason to dig deeper. So if you're struggling right now, don't underestimate what that means. It means you're still in the arena. You're still giving life everything you've got. It means you haven't surrendered. And that's something incredibly powerful. The struggle you feel today might just be the strongest proof that you're still chasing your purpose with everything inside you. And that in itself is a victory. Transformation never happens in the comfort zone. It's in the fire, in the pressure, in the chaos that true growth takes place. When everything is going smoothly, when there's no challenge, no risk, no fear, that's when we're merely maintaining, not evolving. Real transformation demands discomfort. It calls us to step into the unknown, to stretch beyond what we think we're capable of, and to face parts of ourselves that we've long avoided. Comfort is seductive. It feels safe, familiar, easy, but it rarely pushes us to grow. You don't discover your courage when things are easy. You discover it when you're afraid, but you act anyway. You don't develop grit sitting in comfort. You develop it when you're knee deep in difficulty, when nothing seems to be working, and yet you keep showing up. It's in the pain, the rejection, the self-doubt, and the pressure where our deepest strength is uncovered. Think about fire. It's destructive, yes, but also transformative. It melts, it reshapes, it purifies. Gold becomes pure only when passed through intense heat. Steel gains its strength when forged in a blazing furnace. In the same way, the fires of life, our challenges, setbacks, and failures, aren't here to destroy us. They're here to remove the parts of us that are no longer needed. They strip away ego, insecurity, and fear so that what remains is something stronger, more grounded, and more powerful. We often pray or wish for transformation without realizing what that really means. We say we want to grow, we want to become stronger, wiser, better. But then we resist the very process that would make it happen. Transformation demands discomfort. It demands that we walk through uncertainty, make difficult choices, let go of familiar habits, and step into new versions of ourselves, even when we're unsure of what lies ahead. The truth is, you're not meant to stay the same. You're meant to evolve. But evolution is messy. It's confusing. It's painful, and it's often lonely. Yet every time you endure that discomfort, every time you stay in the fire instead of running away, you emerge changed, not just on the surface, but deep within. You become someone who can handle more, lead better, love deeper, and live with greater purpose. So when life heats up and you feel like you're in the middle of a storm, remember, it may not be punishment, it may be preparation. You're not being torn down. You're being transformed. Your story, the one you're living right now, with all its setbacks, silent battles, frustrations, and unanswered prayers, has the power to inspire someone else. But only if you choose to keep going. Most people think their story needs to be perfect or filled with visible success to matter. But that's not true. The most powerful stories aren't about winning all the time. They're about enduring about fighting through the storm, about refusing to quit when everything inside you screamed to give up. There is someone out there who feels like they can't make it, who is questioning their worth, their path, or their strength. And your story could be the light they desperately need. But for that to happen, you have to keep writing it. You have to turn your current struggle into a chapter of triumph. You have to keep showing up, not just for yourself, but for the silent audience you don't even know is watching. The truth is, people are inspired by authenticity, not perfection. When someone sees that you've been hurt, but chose to heal, that you failed but chose to rise, that you've been knocked down but refused to stay down, they see hope. They see possibility. They see a reflection of their own pain with the possibility of a different ending. Every person who ever inspired you had a moment where they were on the verge of quitting but they didn't. They kept going, and that choice gave birth to the story that eventually reached you. That's how it works. Pain turns into wisdom, and struggle turns into testimony, but only if you keep walking through it. You don't need to be on a stage or in the spotlight to make a difference. You don't need 1 million followers or a perfect plan. What you need is to survive today, to fight through this moment, and to choose resilience, even when it feels like the loneliest choice. Because someone someday will look at what you've been through and find strength in your journey. The story you're living is bigger than you. It's being written not just for your healing, but for someone else's breakthrough. And every page you turn, every trial you overcome, becomes a roadmap for someone who's still lost. So don't close the book. The most meaningful chapters are still ahead. The way you interpret adversity shapes the outcome of your life. Most people go through tough times asking, why me? As if the universe has singled them out for punishment or misfortune. This question leads to resentment, helplessness, and often a spiral of self-pity. But there's another way to look at it. You can shift that mindset. You can choose to ask, try me, instead of, why me? That small change in perspective holds massive power. One is rooted in defeat, the other in strength. One makes you a victim of your circumstances, the other makes you a warrior who rises because of them. When you say, why me? You're focusing on what's been taken from you. Your peace, your comfort, your plan, your sense of control. But when you say, try me, you're reminding yourself of what still remains your will, your courage, your determination. You're saying, I may not have chosen this, but I will choose how I respond to it. That response is where your power lies. It's not about being immune to pain, it's about refusing to be defined by it. Life is not fair, and it never promised to be. Everyone, regardless of how strong they appear, has been through seasons that tested their limits. But those who rise are the ones who stop waiting for things to get easier and instead commit to getting stronger. They don't beg for the storm to end. They learn how to navigate through it. They use adversity as a forge, a training ground, a classroom. They look hardship in the eye and say, you're not going to break me, you're going to shape me. This isn't about pretending to be okay or denying the weight of what you're carrying. It's about choosing to believe that your spirit is bigger than your struggle. That deep inside you lies a strength you haven't fully tapped into yet. But you will, if you stop asking to be rescued and start showing up as your own rescue. That mindset shift from why is this happening to me to what is this teaching me, or how can I grow through this, opens a door to growth that wasn't there before. Suddenly, the pain has a purpose. The resistance has a reason. And the story you're living turns from tragedy to triumph. Not because life got easier, but because you got stronger. Try me doesn't mean you won't fear or frustration. It means you'll face it anyway. That is what defines real strength. Not the absence of struggle, but the refusal to surrender to it. So often, we interpret difficult seasons in life as punishment. When things fall apart, when relationships break, when we fail, when the weight gets too heavy, we assume we're being penalized for something. That maybe we took the wrong turn, or maybe we're not good enough, or that life is just against us. But what if it's not punishment at all? What if it's preparation? There are things you've prayed for, hoped for, dreamed about. But have you ever asked yourself, are you truly ready for them? We all want success, love, peace, recognition, purpose. But very few of us are immediately equipped to handle what those blessings actually demand. Life, in its wisdom, doesn't give you what you want when you want it. It gives you what you're prepared for. And preparation doesn't happen in peace. It happens in pressure, imagine wanting to carry 100 kg weight when you've only trained with 10. If someone handed you the full weight right away, it would crush you. Not because you're weak in the, but because you haven't built the capacity yet. So what does life do? It sends resistance. It gives you smaller weights first. Challenges, disappointments, lessons, delays. Not to break you, but to build you. Every difficult season is not rejection. It's construction. It's the invisible work life does to shape you into someone who can sustain what they're asking for. If you want to lead, life teaches you empathy by letting you be misunderstood. If you want strength, life will let you experience situations where you feel powerless. So that when your strength finally rises, it comes from within. If you want abundance, life teaches you discipline by first walking you through lack. It's not cruelty. It's character formation. Sometimes we don't recognize that the pain we're feeling today is tied to the promise we asked for yesterday. You asked to be great, but forgot that greatness must be earned through trials. You asked for clarity, but forgot that confusion often precedes it. You asked to be unshakable, but forgot that strength is only proven when everything is shaking. What you're going through right now might not be what you wanted but it could be exactly what you needed. Life is equipping you, shaping you and stripping away the parts of you that can't carry the next chapter. That heartbreak, that failure, that delay. It's not life denying you it's life preparing you for the weight of the very blessing you've been waiting for. Preparation hurts, but when the moment finally comes, you will stand tall and strong, not because it was easy, but because you were made ready